pitch is prepared properly. So get all those things sorted out, and then basically you can, if you do that nice and early, then you can look forward to the game.
So we're looking at match ball,
Yep.
scorebook, pitch, umpires.
Yeah, umpires. If it's a friendly, normally you'll help each other out with umpires.
Team. What about things like match fees and the tea and stuff like that? Would that be your responsibility, or would you hand that on to somebody else?
If you can, hand some of the responsibility on, that's always a good thing. So have a few people around you that are willing to help out, and ask them to handle, say, the match fees. And always speak to the players if you can, and make sure they're bringing tea for two when it's home games. A lot of this stuff is self-explanatory, but it's always worth just making sure you remind people.
So that's the pre-game setup. The other team arrive. What happens then?
Basically, you try and make them feel welcome. So have an atmosphere in the club where teams are made to feel nice and welcome. Make sure you've got the pavilion open when they arrive. That is sometimes quite embarrassing. So make sure the pavilion's open nice and early. A lot of teams like to come down an hour before kick-off. So if it's a 12 o'clock start, they'll arrive at 11 o'clock, sometimes 10:30. I always used to arrive sometimes 2 hours before a game, especially if I'm playing away, because I travel on my own, and the trains may dictate I arrive early. So always make sure the pavilion's ready.
There's a couple of things. If it's a league game, obviously we need the fielding circle putting out and somebody to do the boundary flags.
Yeah, definitely, and always get your trusted lieutenants, the people that get there early, get them marshalled and get them helping you, because it's all parcel of preparing for a game of cricket, helping out and doing your bit. So get them to put the flags out, get them to put the fielding circle out, and if you're there early and no one else turns up, you've got to do it yourself.
I think as people that have captained a side, it's great when people turn up and you don't have to ask them to do something. They just go and get the boundary flags, they go and put the circle out for you. These are the kind of people that really are a bit of a diamond on a captaincy day. Okay, so we're ready to... Okay, everybody's changed. What's the next thing? You go out for the middle for the toss of the coin? Yeah,
that's very important. So basically get you guys warmed up. That's a really important part of cricket. So organise someone to do your warm-ups for you, because you can't really do that because you're captain. You have to go and do the toss-up. You have to evaluate what the pitch is going to do. You have to evaluate the opposition. So get someone else to do the warm-ups with the guys. Get them moving. Very important you get your team moving and happy and having a good time. You're out there doing the important toss of the coin, and hopefully you're going to get it right. But don't get stressed. Because you're really the pivotal person in the team. You set the example, so make sure you're happy and friendly with the opposition as well, and have a good rapport with them, because sometimes they might tell you something important, a slip of a tongue that one of their players is injured, or they didn't score many runs the week before, so you can glean a bit of information from the opposition captain.
Would your attitude be different from a friendly to a league game, for instance, on how you approach the captaincy at all?
Yeah, definitely. You know, the friendlies are one of the most wonderful parts of cricket, because you can just have a good laugh, and you can let them choose whether they want to bat or bowl. You don't even have to do a toss. You know, just make sure they're happy, your team's happy, and just relax and enjoy it. It's a fun day. But again, make sure the tees are good, make sure the pitch is good, and make sure you've got a ball, and make sure you've got a scorebook.
Now, what about your actual attitude during the game, if it's a friendly or a league game? Would that be different, or would there be a difference in how you actually captain the team?
Yeah, you've got to keep a strong hold of things in league games, because a lot of people in league games expect the cricket to be quite serious and to be quite focused. So you've got to make sure you're not making silly errors and doing things that are going to upset the team. So, you know, if you're going to ask someone to bowl, give them time to warm up, explain possibly why you're going to bowl them at a certain time, and just make sure people are kept informed of what you're up to. Because people expect you to be leading from the front in a league game. In a friendly game, slightly different. You can let other people get involved and be a bit more relaxed. But in a league game, you've got to lead from the front and make sure you're on your game.
So you'd be less likely to offer Fred a ball in a league game if he's not that great a bowler, but in a friendly, you're going to give him
Absolutely, yeah. And funnily enough, sometimes the best bowlers in tense situations are your worst bowlers, because the batsmen relax and get out. To be many a day when the worst bowler's taken the key wicket. So never discount those guys, but in friendlies, absolutely give those guys a go, because it's no fun sitting there and not doing anything in game of cricket. So friendly games are a great opportunity to give guys a go that haven't had a go, previously.
Going back to the league game, how important is it for the say if you've played a team once before, what are the important things that you would take from the previous game to use in the second game against that team?
Well, you're obviously going to be looking at their bowling attack and their batsmen, and looking at players that really stand out, and looking to make sure you've got a game plan against them. So if a bowler is very, very quick, you've got to be saying to your batsman, make sure you leave the ball as much as possible, give him the least opportunity to take a wicket against you. So play the percentage game. Against good players, you've got to sort of play a bit more reserved way, a bit more thoughtful. So think about the opposition and what weapons they have that could hurt you, and make sure you respect them as well. Very important, you respect your opposition, but use your brain. If someone is bowling a good spinner like yourself, Howie, bowling leg spin, think about how you're going to approach that. Like, I jump down the wicket sometimes to you and get out. I should play a bit more reserved and wait for you to bowl the bad ball. So I respect you as a player, so I'm going to wait for you to make a mistake, and then I'm going to jump on it, hopefully.
Would you have the same batting lineup week after week, or would you vary that possibly? Or
always be flexible, because some players, you look at your team, and some players are going to be away with a ferry sometimes, I'm afraid. They've had a bad week, the wife's given them a bit of jip, and they've got a bit of a cob on. So yeah, if someone's not right, just have a word with them and say, look, I'm going to drop you down the order, I'm going to try someone else, and just be honest with them and open with them. And some times you get to a game and the guy's really on his money. You think, no, I'll give him an opportunity and give him a bowl or put him in a fielding position, which is quite key. So always be flexible, but don't mess people around. Try and be consistent, but give people a chance. That's the most important thing, and back your players.
what about, you've got a hothead in the team who, can maybe flare up, or it can be, maybe it's giving the umpire a bit of jip, or how would you deal with like a hot-headed player?
Well, I'd be very close to him. I'd want to get him involved as much as possible to tire him out and to use him as much as possible, because he's got to use that aggression in a positive way. So I want to bowl him and I want to bat him. And I wouldn't give him chances because he's behaving badly, but I'd be pushing him all the time. I'd be saying, okay, if you want to be aggressive, if you want to be a hothead, I'm going to really push you and take control of that situation, give him opportunities, but in a constructive way, and use that aggression positively. It's difficult though, you've got to really be on it. And if he does step over the mark, deal with it straight away. Don't be wishy-washy. Can't turn your cheek to bad behaviour. It should be stamped on straight away.
What about if somebody's getting a bit of a strop on because they're not getting a ball?
Again, there's two ways you can do it. Either completely ignore them if they're being like a child, or speak to them. I'm very much part of if someone's being a complete child, they should be just ignored, because they're basically trying to get a reaction out of you. Don't give them any, like a batsman or a bowler of the opposition. Don't show any emotion. Just deal with it, and deal with it whatever way you see fit. But don't overreact to someone being silly.
So captaincy is very much a person management job as well, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Trying somehow being able to get the best out of those players. They might not even know what their own qualities are themselves.
Yeah, definitely. You're absolutely right, Howie. And sometimes that knowledge of a person is very important, and having that knowledge that they are a bit of a hidden gem, and they have got
Fucking. Oh yeah, sorry for swearing there.
That's all right.
I thought the video wasn't going.
They have got qualities that you might not have seen in a game. So very important to have a drink with them if you can, a beer with them, socialise with them, and they get to socialise with you, and you get to know each other. Because you'd be very surprised how good some people can be if you give them an opportunity.
A couple of lads both want to keep wicket. How do you, and maybe they're equally as good as each other, how would you handle that throughout the season, as it were?
Probably go with the one that fits the team ethos. That is so important for a keeper. He's got to be controlling the game. He's your sergeant major. So go for the one that's going to control your team in the best way. And then the other keeper just ask him if that's okay, and that's the way you think that's going to be the better option, and say, is that okay with you, and ask his opinion. And perhaps if he can stay in the team, keep him in the team for his batting or his bowling, and but explain the reasons very clearly, that you're looking for someone who wants to encourage the team and to bring the team forward, and you think that person is the best person for the job.
Is it important to, let's say you're playing quite a tough team, or you know they're a hard team, they don't give any quarter, as it were, how would you go about seizing the initiative early on, or would that be important to seize the initiative?
Definitely. Aggressive teams, you must be aggressive towards them, because that's the least of their expectations. They, in some ways, bully the opposition, and in cricket you should never be bullied. And try and not be a bully, but just stand up to that team and say, I'm going to take the front foot, I'm going to win the toss, I'm going to decide to bowl, because I know that's your weakest strength. You always like to, bat first. I'm going to surprise you by letting you bat first. You're turning it on its head. You're saying, okay, you're good enough, but so am I, and I'm going to make sure I'm better than you, but in a skillful way rather than a bullying way.
I think a couple of the things worth mentioning, especially in friendly games, is if people can be, it's a bit of a drag if you're constantly having to ask people to umpire or score. So from a captain's point of view, it's nice if people take those jobs on without you having to ask. It's just one less thing you have to think about on the day.
Yeah, it's really important. I have to hold my hand up. Sometimes I'm a bit lazy when I bat or I bowl, and I like to relax. But do try, if you can, to help, especially the tea ladies. They're the most essential people on the ground sometimes, because you love that tea when you get in after hard days or a hard session in the day, and really make some drinks, make people a cup of tea. That's the one job I always try and do. I try and make people a cup of tea, because I think you're welcoming people to a club, and if someone's sitting, a spectator, make them a cup of tea, and it's such an important part of cricket. It's about the whole event. So do try and get involved and help, and a little thing goes a long way.
So no matter how tough the game is, you want everybody to go away feeling like they've been made welcome and they've had an enjoyable day, sort of thing. Even if there's been a few tricky incidents, which we've all been involved in, difficult incidents, but that should be left at the end of the game. Or
definitely, and as you're the captain, you've got to set an example, and you've got to remain calm at all times, and have a joke with people and have a laugh with them, obviously in a respectful way, and make sure people look to you and they look to senior players. So you've got to set an example and make sure you never get upset, you never lose your rag. And if it does happen, it's out in the middle, and then afterwards you deal with it. And if you have gone a bit too far, you apologise straight away. That's it. And have a laugh. Sometimes you lose your cool. It's funny because you look an idiot. So just say sorry and hold your hands up. That's the way.
Well, that's been very informative, mate. Thanks very much. I've run out of questions.
Pleasure.
Cheers.